Have you ever reached a point in life where you sit back and think, I'm really on my own now? Not in a dramatic way, just quietly. It's a strange feeling, realizing that the people you once depended on the most, maybe even raised or supported yourself, aren't as present as they used to be. The kids are busy, friends are fewer, siblings have their own struggles. You're not upset, necessarily. But you notice it. Birthdays get quieter. Calls come less often. And when something important happens, good or bad, you're the only one standing in the room. This realization isn't always loud. Sometimes, it creeps in during a quiet lunch. Or when you struggle with a jar that used to be easy to open. And it's in those moments that a tough but honest thought settles in: if I don't take care of me, who will? Now, I want to say something very clearly: this isn't a sad video. And it's not about blaming your family or feeling sorry for yourself. It's about waking up to a simple, powerful truth: you are stronger than you think. Yes, life has changed. And yes, some of the support you once had may have faded. But that doesn't mean you're left empty-handed. In fact, you still have some of the most important forms of support right within your reach. Ones that don't disappear. Ones you can count on even when nobody else shows up. Today, I want to talk to you about 5 powerful things that quietly hold you up, emotionally, physically, and mentally, after the age of 70. Most people don't think of them as support, but they are. And the best part? You don't have to ask anyone's permission to use them. They're already yours to build on. But before we get into them, I want to hear from you. If you've ever felt like the people you counted on slowly started drifting away, just drop a comment below and say, I've felt it. That's it. You don't have to explain. Just those 3 words. Because you're not alone, and you deserve to be seen. Now let's get into the first form of real support most people don't talk about. Physical mobility. Now, I know what you're probably thinking: at my age, I'm not exactly training for a marathon. And you're right. That's not the point. What I'm talking about isn't about being athletic. It's about being capable. The ability to move, to get out of bed on your own, to make your coffee, to walk to the mailbox, or to step into the shower without fear. That's not just movement. That's freedom. You see, physical mobility isn't just a body issue. It's an emotional one. Because when your body starts slowing down, your mind starts to second-guess things. You begin to avoid outings, cancel plans, or tell yourself it's easier to just stay home. Not because you've lost interest, but because you're afraid you won't manage. And that fear? It starts to shrink your world, little by little. But here's the truth: it doesn't have to be that way. Even small efforts to keep moving can give you back a sense of control that no one else can provide. You don't need fancy equipment or gym memberships. Just a few simple habits: stretching in the morning, walking around your home, standing up and sitting down a few extra times a day. These things matter. More than you realize. Let me tell you something personal. I once met a man named Richard at a senior center in Arizona. He was 79 and used a cane. Nothing fancy. Just an ordinary guy. But every morning, he made it a point to walk the hallways, back and forth, slow but steady. I asked him why he did it even on the bad days, and he said, because every step I take is a step I don't have to wait for someone else to help me with. That stuck with me. Physical independence is real independence. If you can move, you can choose. And when you can choose, you feel less like a burden, and more like the version of yourself that still has control over your own life. And let's not forget, mobility also helps prevent falls, one of the biggest risks for older adults. Strong legs and good balance can literally save your life. But beyond that, they give you confidence. You walk taller. You feel more secure. And believe me, that sense of security can do wonders for your spirit. So even if you're feeling stiff or slow these days, that's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. But do make a promise to your future self, I'll move today. Just a little more than yesterday. Because every step you take is an investment in your freedom. Alright, let's talk about the second form of support that can change the way you feel about aging: financial simplicity. Now listen, this isn't about how much money you have. It's not about being rich, owning a big house, or having investments all over the place. It's about clarity. It's about waking up in the morning and knowing, I've got what I need, I understand where my money goes, and I'm not drowning in confusion or fear. That kind of peace? That's real support. Here's the truth most people don't say out loud: complicated finances become emotional weight. They make you anxious. When you've got a pile of unopened mail, a handful of cards, 10 little bills here and there, and no clear picture of your money, it starts to wear on you. Not just mentally, but physically. Your shoulders get tight. Your sleep gets lighter. And the worst part is, you start to avoid dealing with it altogether. But there's another way. You can simplify. You can take back control, even if your income is fixed, even if you've had a few rough years. Because simplicity isn't about sacrifice, it's about freedom. The freedom to not worry, to not guess, to not feel embarrassed asking for help because you've already put things in order for yourself. I knew a woman named Darlene, 74, widow, lived in a small apartment outside Dallas. After her husband passed, she found herself overwhelmed with joint accounts, subscriptions she didn't use, and credit card charges she didn't recognize. One day she sat down, took a deep breath, and made some changes. Canceled the extras. Combined what she could. Set up one small account just for personal spending. She told me, I used to feel nervous every time I swiped my card. Now I know exactly what's in there, and I don't have to ask anyone for help. That's what I want for you, not more stress, not more stuff. Just confidence. Confidence that your money, however big or small, is working with you, not against you. When your finances are simple, you don't have to call your son for help reading your bank statement. You don't have to wait for your daughter to explain the phone bill. You can look at everything yourself and feel at ease. So if your financial life feels like a mess right now, don't panic. You're not the only one. But take it one step at a time. Write down what comes in, what goes out, and cancel what no longer serves you. Make it so simple you could explain it to a friend over coffee. Because at the end of the day, peace doesn't come from how much you have, it comes from knowing. And that kind of knowing is a form of support that nobody can take from you. Now let's move on to something that sounds simple but holds incredible power in your life after 70, a consistent health routine. I know, routine doesn't sound very exciting. But trust me on this, having a small set of daily health habits that you stick to, even when life gets messy, can be the difference between feeling lost and feeling grounded. And I'm not talking about extreme workouts, fad diets, or expensive supplements. I mean the basics: moving your body a little, eating what fuels you, taking your medication on time, drinking your water. Things that may sound ordinary, but build something extraordinary: self-reliance. Because here's what happens when your health routine is all over the place: your days start feeling the same way. You wake up unsure. You miss meals. You skip your pills. You forget what day it is. And slowly, without even realizing it, life starts to feel more like surviving and less like living. But when you have structure, even just a little, it gives your mind and body something steady to hold on to. Let me tell you about someone I knew. His name was Frank. He was 81, a retired electrician. Every morning, rain or shine, he followed the same rhythm: woke up at 6 a.m., made his green tea, did 15 minutes of light stretches by his kitchen counter, took his medication, and walked the block around his house. That was it. Nothing fancy. But when I asked him why he stuck to it so religiously, he said, "It reminds me I still matter." That hit me. Because for Frank, his health routine wasn't about staying young, it was about staying present. You see, a routine isn't just physical. It does something deeper. It calms your mind. It tells your body, you're safe. You're cared for. And over time, it builds confidence. You feel more in control. You forget less. You move with more purpose. And here's the best part, routines don't have to be perfect. Some days you'll feel low. Some days your knees will ache or the weather won't cooperate. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is showing up for yourself, in whatever small way you can. Even 1 cup of warm water in the morning. Even a stretch before bed. Even just writing down what pills you took today. It all counts. And when done consistently, these small acts start to carry you. You'll notice you don't need as much outside help. You'll feel less anxious. Less scattered. More steady. So if you've fallen out of routine lately, don't feel bad. But do ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do every day, just for me? And then do it. Every time you show up for yourself, you prove something important, that you are still your own best caregiver. Let's talk about something that might just be the strongest support you'll ever have, emotional resilience. Now, I want you to pause and really think about this. How many times in your life have you gone through something you thought would break you, but it didn't? How many quiet battles have you fought that no one else saw? That's not weakness. That's strength. Real, tested, unshakable strength. And after the age of 70, this kind of strength, the emotional kind, becomes more important than ever. Why? Because life changes. People you once leaned on might not be there in the same way. You may have lost a spouse. A child might have moved far away. Friendships shift. Your body doesn't always cooperate. These are hard truths. But here's the thing, you've made it this far. And that means you've already built resilience, even if you don't always feel it. Emotional resilience isn't about pretending things don't hurt. It's not about putting on a brave face every day. It's about knowing how to feel what you feel, and still keep going. It's the ability to sit with sadness without letting it swallow you. To feel lonely but still make yourself a warm meal. To cry one night and still open the curtains the next morning. That's real strength. I remember talking to a woman named Eileen, 77 years old, who had been living alone since her husband passed 5 years earlier. I asked her, how do you get through the rough evenings? She said, every night I light a candle. Not for him, not for grief, but to remind myself that I'm still here. That I made it through one more day. And some nights, she cries. Other nights, she laughs. But she always honors her day. That's what emotional resilience looks like, not being untouched by pain, but refusing to disappear under it. When you have emotional resilience, something amazing happens. You stop relying on other people to make you feel okay. You learn how to comfort yourself. To talk yourself through the tough moments. And that gives you a kind of peace that no one else can take away. You stop chasing validation. You stop fearing every change. You begin to trust your own ability to handle whatever comes. And yes, building this kind of strength takes time, and tenderness. It starts with the way you talk to yourself. Be kind. Be patient. Be real. Maybe write your thoughts in a journal, or go for a walk and just breathe. Maybe put on your favorite music and sit with it, even if it brings tears. That's okay. You're not trying to be invincible. You're just trying to be whole. Because when your emotional center is strong, you're not easily shaken. You become someone who can stand tall, even on the days when life feels heavy. And that's the kind of support that comes from within, not from who calls you or shows up on your doorstep. Now let's talk about something many people overlook, yet it might be the most beautiful form of support you'll ever experience, a sense of purpose. You see, after 70, the world often sends the wrong message. It says, you've done your part, now just rest. And while rest is important, purpose is what keeps your spirit alive. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's what makes you feel seen, valued, needed. But let me be very clear, purpose doesn't have to be big. It doesn't mean starting a charity or writing a book, unless that's your dream. It can be something as quiet and sacred as watering your garden, checking in on a neighbor, writing a birthday card, calling your grandson just to say, "I'm proud of you." Those small moments are filled with purpose. Because they say, "I'm still part of this world. I still have something to give." I once met a man named Harold, 84 years old. He lived alone and didn't get many visitors. But every week, without fail, he baked a loaf of bread and dropped it off at the fire station down the road. Nothing fancy. Just a warm loaf. And he told me, "It gives me a reason to put on a clean shirt. It gives me a reason to smile." That's what purpose looks like. It doesn't shout. It glows. Purpose is deeply personal. For some, it's creative, painting, singing, telling stories. For others, it's practical, organizing the house, fixing things, cooking a meal. And for many, it's emotional, being the steady voice in the family, the person who listens, the one who remembers everyone's stories. You don't have to do everything. But you do have to believe you still matter. Because you do. And when you reconnect with a sense of purpose, something inside you wakes up. You feel more alert, more focused. Your days feel fuller, not just longer. You start to make choices again, not out of routine, but out of intention. Even your body feels the shift. You move differently when you know you still have something meaningful to do. So ask yourself gently, what brings me a sense of usefulness? Is it helping someone? Creating something? Sharing your wisdom? Whatever it is, lean into it. Make space for it. And if you're not sure yet, that's okay too. Sometimes, purpose finds you in the quietest ways, a moment, a gesture, a thought that says, "This matters." Because in the end, purpose isn't about age, it's about meaning. And you, right now, still have so much to offer. You've lived decades full of stories, strength, and lessons. Don't let the world tell you you're done. You're not. You are needed. You are still growing. And you are still becoming. Let's take a moment to bring it all together. You see, the kind of support that truly matters after 70 isn't always what people expect. It's not just about who calls you, who visits, or how many people are around. It's about the internal supports you build for yourself, the quiet structures that help you feel steady, grounded, and alive. It starts with self-trust, the belief that even though the world has changed, you haven't lost your core strength. Then it moves into financial simplicity, which gives your mind a sense of peace and order. From there, a daily health routine keeps your body gently in motion and your days filled with structure. Emotional resilience keeps you going when things feel heavy, and your sense of purpose gives every day a reason to begin. These 5 things, they're not magic. But when practiced together, they create something truly powerful, independence with dignity. Now I know, not every day feels strong. Not every day feels meaningful. And that's okay. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to keep showing up, for yourself. To keep choosing to be engaged with life, even in the smallest ways. You're not here just to get by. You're here to live, in whatever way makes sense for you, with calm, with purpose, with the quiet pride of someone who's made it through so much, and is still standing. And maybe, just maybe, if something in this video reminded you of your own strength, or of someone else who could use a gentle reminder, you'll take a moment to share it. Or leave a comment. Sometimes even a few simple words like, "That's me," can be a way of saying, "I'm still here. And I still matter." You do. Every single day. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope something in today's message helped you feel a little more seen, a little more understood. If it did, and if you'd like to hear more conversations like this, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. It's free, and it lets you know when we share something new, just for you. And if you have a moment, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, which part of today's message spoke to you the most? Or what's something you've learned about staying strong and independent in your later years? This channel is a space for you, for your voice, your wisdom, and your stories. And if you know someone else, maybe a friend, a sibling, or even one of your grown children, who might need this message too, feel free to share it with them. You never know who needs a quiet word of encouragement today. Until next time, take care of yourself, you matter more than you know.